a few words to start off with. One, maybe on a personal note, I can't tell you how delighted my wife Lisa and I are to be back in Omaha. It is a fabulous place. I think some of y'all actually were there during the change of command speech, and I tried to capture a can-do spirit and a welcoming attitude that is here in Omaha in particular, Nebraska in general, and that little sea story I told about the flooding and what it looked like from the outside in. Very appreciative of that. And being that I am a Southerner, but given it's my third time here, I now know what those little poles are on the fire hydrant. So I think I'm fully qualified to go through a Nebraska winter. But I am honored beyond belief and humbled beyond belief to be taking over command of the 150,000 professionals that are U.S. Strategic Command. And in all of the footsteps I'm following of General Hyten and the commanders that came before, this command is on a superb trajectory. I wanted to make it clear that we are not changing the priorities for command, right? Above all else, we will provide strategic deterrence. If that fails, we will provide a decisive response, and we'll do so with a trained and combat-ready force. And there are a number of things that are in progress right now that I think it is essential for the nation that we see through to completion. This command and control facility might be a perfect example of that. I can't give you a better example of the commitment this nation has to this mission set. This is the finest facility of its type in the world, and is the beginnings of the long road of modernization that we're going to have to do if we're going to maintain this foundational capability that is essential, as Admiral John Richardson said, to our survival as a nation, and make sure that that's solid. But it's not the only thing we have to do, right? We have to make sure that General Raymond at U.S. Space Command gets everything he needs to take that command to full operational capability. We have a number. We have to continue to modernize the triad. You heard me say in the speech, our only other choice is unilateral disarmament. And every one of the other initiatives that are in progress, we have to complete. So I couldn't be more excited about being here. It is a fabulous day, and I think I'm ready to take your questions.
All right. So we're going to start with Brian.
Welcome back to town, Admiral. So I thought the story was interesting that there was an exercise going on at the dedication. Two things: did you step in there and monitor it all? And I suspect that that's probably a not so subtle reminder of the type of good work done here.
So I wasn't doing them here. I will tell you, it hasn't been that long since I got from Norfolk, and in my second day before taking command, I was in the other building doing those exercises, getting myself back up to speed.
Sir, the General Milley mentioned that because of your background, you're in a good position to identify gaps and seams that may need some additional work in the next few years. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the areas that, maybe some new areas that you plan to emphasize in the next?
I think the key to that is where we're going in the future. We are in competition right now. We are facing threats in a way that we have not seen in many decades. So it is pacing those threats, looking at the way we are being challenged, and making sure that we have the right answers to maintain strategic deterrence in changing conditions.
John?
And you mentioned that one of your goals when you get here is to get this facility up to full operation. What do you see as the biggest challenge in that as you step into your new role?
This is the most sophisticated and capable facility of its type anywhere in the world. And we set a demanding standard for the performance of the facility. So as General Hyten said, it's got to be perfect, right? And so we are going to make sure that it is fully ready to go. That testing is in progress right now. I have great confidence that we'll work through it. I guess maybe if you needed a little bit more personal motivation, I'm not moving. There's 2,000 people already over here, about 1,000 more to go, but I'm not moving across the street until all that testing is completed, right? So it's not going to be too much longer. We'll be ready. We'll all be over here.
Go ahead, Steve.
So the nuclear recapitalization continues. There's a whole lot of weapon systems being modernized all at once. Are there any in particular that you would be really concerned to see the work lag behind?
I'll tell you, I love all the children, right? You have to have all of the triad to provide the flexibility, capability, and redundancy. I think the Nuclear Posture Review got this exactly correct. So no, we have already answered that question in previous years by picking and choosing stuff to get us to the position that we're in. So we have used most of that margin. We need it all to come through and come through on time. And this nation is capable of doing that. And I'd almost like to start shifting this conversation to what's it going to take to get it to all come in on time, instead of asking about what we're going to do when it comes in late.
Admiral,
Yes.
what is the #1 challenge facing our country today? Is it the established states, or is it the rogue states or non-existent states?
It is the ability to move fast, right? This nation used to move much, much faster in its ability to go accomplish a program or go accomplish an objective. It's a competition. If you can move faster than your competitors, you have an advantage. That's what I'm most, if you want, I don't stay awake at night very much, right? But when I do, that's what I'm thinking about, is how do we move at the speed? You heard the names of those great leaders that the foundational capabilities this nation are built on. They knew how to move fast. The nation did. We need to get back to that.
Go ahead.
What does this mean to you personally to be appointed to this new position?
It is incredibly humbling, right, that I look at these iconic commanders of U.S. Strategic Command. I've had a picture of Curtis LeMay on my wall for 5 years alongside Admiral Hyman Rickover to remind me what right looks like. But I'll also say that I have been preparing for 37 years for this moment and am honored to have the opportunity to take us to the next step.
Go ahead, Brian.
What do you think the public doesn't understand what Strategic Command does, but probably should know?
I would take that more to, I worry that we take strategic deterrence itself for granted, right? The benefits, the fact that Chairman Milley talked about, we have not had great power war since 1945. That was not an accident, right? That was over 4,000 strategic deterrent patrols. That was innumerable hours in missile silos and in uncountable sorties and command and control and bomber aircraft. That's what caused that to happen. I am old enough to have done a duck and cover drill. Have you done a duck and cover drill? Right. We used to think about that. I remember I was in kindergarten. I'm not that old. And I do remember wondering, what is this desk going to do for me, right? But we did that. My kids have never thought about something like that. I think that's the ultimate sign of success in this mission area. We have removed that from the American psyche, and I worry that we don't remember the effort and the commitment that it takes to make those statements true in the future.
Sir, I was wondering, Offutt has been through a lot. We had this brand new facility here that's just come online, but there's an awful lot of work that's got to be done in the next few years. And also, you're going to be losing the runway here for a period of time. I was wondering how Stratcom might be affected by being all this other work going on at the base, and how concerned are you also about the threats like we saw with the flooding this last year?
Well, one advantage of having been here before is I know the close relationship that Strategic Command has with the 55th Wing and the Air Force more generally. So I have confidence that the Air Force will work through these challenges. Stratcom in particular has, that partnership enables us to know what we can and can't do, and we have thought very hard about how to modify our operations so that we have minimum impact and can complete our mission while continuing to be good tenants to the wing.
You hit on it a little bit already, but you've been here before, obviously. What did you learn in those experiences that now prepare you for your new role?
It was the way Stratcom operates in that unique, it's like I wanted to come back. I've just not seen a place that almost whatever you throw in front of this command, they will improvise, adapt, and overcome and find you a way to get through it. And I think that is a part of being in the heartland, right? I think that comes in part from the Omaha, Nebraska, and just the basic way the Midwest culture is. I wanted to be a part of it.
Anyone else?
Are you worried the budget might be hurtful for military? I know both of you guys kind of in jest, but there was some truth to that.
Well, Look, I like the way former Secretary of Defense Mattis said, this nation can afford survival, right? It is just a question of what we're going to choose to spend our resources on, and I think this is a good investment. All right, well, I thank you very much for your questions. I look forward to seeing y'all. It's the first time of many, I'm sure, and it's great to be back.
Thank you.
Thank you all, sir.